Hello and good evening. High drama unfolded today at the Supreme Court through the day, and the residence of former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram after the Delhi High Court rejected his anticipatory bail plea in the INX Media Corruption and Money Laundering case. The High Court also denied Chidambaram protection from arrest, which led to CBI and ED sleuths reaching his doorstep after his lawyers of the likes of Kapil Sibal and Abhishek Manu Singhvi failed to secure him an urgent hearing with Chief Justice of India Ranjan Gogoi in the Supreme Court. We'll get you the blow-by-blow account of this nail-biter tonight on Newsnight, and it's mostly for the Minister himself, the nail-biting bit. This is Newsnight and I'm Gautam Roy. We'll also be talking about how India's second mission to the moon, Chandrayaan-2, has got one more step closer to the moon today with a fairly nail-biting maneuver. Yes, we're doing a fair bit of nail-biting today, but first, our headlines. Troubles mount for Chidambaram in the INX Media Corruption and Money Laundering cases. CBI and ED sleuths reached the Congress leader's home after Delhi High Court rejects his anticipatory bail plea and refuses to grant him protection from arrest. His team of bigwig lawyers like Sibal and Singhvi failed to get him an urgent hearing in the CJI's court. The situation heads towards further normalcy in Jammu and Kashmir. Middle schools set to reopen in the valley tomorrow after primary schools. 75,000 of the 96,000 landline telephone services restored. Barricades removed from several prominent locations in Srinagar, including the landmark Lal Chowk. India's second moon mission Chandrayaan-2 crosses another milestone successfully, establishes itself in the moon's orbit through a nearly 30-minute-long nail-biting maneuver. Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulates ISRO and its scientists. Several North Indian states are reeling with floods. 15 have been killed so far in Uttarakhand. Wide range of agencies are working hard to rescue and bring relief to victims. Levels rise in many rivers in Punjab and Haryana. Water barges into homes and businesses at several places. The Yamuna crosses the danger mark in Delhi. Thousands of people sent to relief camps. The centre announces 4,432 crore rupees assistance for Karnataka and Himachal Pradesh. Prime Minister's appeal against the single-use plastic bears fruit. Lok Sabha Secretariat bars the use of anything made of single-use plastic and several other plastic items in Parliament's premises starting today. Malaysia gets tough on preacher of hate Zakir Naik. His apology to Malaysians for making racist comments comes to naught. The Indian televangelist is grilled by the police for 10 hours and it bans him from all public activities in the multi-ethnic country. An ace Indian shuttler HS Pranoy enters round 3 of the World Badminton Championship in Switzerland's Basel. Beats world number 1 Chinese champ Lin Dan in a key clash. And legendary music composer Khayyam interred with full state honours. Bollywood bids the music composer of films like Kabhi Kabhi and Umrao Jaan a teary final farewell. Well, let's talk about something positive first. India's second mission to the moon, Chandrayaan-2, crossed another significant milestone today as part of its journey to the surface of the Earth's only satellite. It underwent what is called a Lunar Orbit Insertion, or LOI, which means it has now established itself in an elliptical orbit around the moon. The process lasted for nearly half an hour and was an eternity long for those involved, apart from people like you and me who are emotionally invested as well. So now one can certainly say, so far, so good. But what comes next till the time that is touchdown, the final touchdown, is quite another ball game.
Minutes our heart was almost stopping today. Till it is completing the job.
Heart stopping is how Indian Space Research Organization Chief K. Sivam described the moments. during which India's second mission to the moon, Chandrayaan-2, was inserted into the moon's orbit. With the model of the moon marvel in hand, Sivan declared that the maneuver was successfully completed 2 minutes past 9 a.m. on Tuesday. The entire event went on for 1,738 seconds, just 2 seconds short of 29 minutes. But to those involved, it was an eternity filled with anxiety and uncertainty.
The precise lunar orbit insertion maneuver carried out at 9 o'clock for about 30 minutes, precisely injected the Chandrayaan-2 in a defined orbit in a perfect way. As we are aware, in order to achieve the required location for soft landing near South Pole, that is to achieve the moon orbit with an inclination of 90 degrees. This is the unique requirement only Chandrayaan has, which no other moon mission has.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi tweeted out his congratulations to ISRO within minutes of the successful insertion. He wished the country's space organization has a successful culmination to the mission, saying today was an important step in the landmark journey to the moon. While briefing the media, the ISRO chief also explained how the lander Vikram will separate from the orbiter in the next crucial step.
Now it will be together, and September 2, these people become like this. But this orbiter will be on their own in the 100-kilometer orbit. Now we have to control two bodies. One is orbiter, and then our operations will be in that lander.
According to the ISRO chief, the orbiter will undergo some more orbital maneuvers to establish itself in its final orbit, passing above the lunar poles 100 kilometers above the moon's surface. The next crucial milestone will be crossed on the 2nd of September, when the lander Vikram will separate from the orbiter. The lander will enter 100 kilometers into 30 kilometers orbit around the moon after separation. It will finally soft land on the moon's surface on the 7th of September, in the most crucial maneuver in the entire mission. To ensure that the mission is successful, constant tracking and monitoring is being carried out using the Indian Deep Space Network as well as the ISRO telemetry, tracking and command network. The mission was launched on board ISRO's most powerful GSLV Mark III M1 rocket on the 22nd of July from Sriharikota Space Center in Andhra Pradesh. Costing nearly 978 crore rupees, it's the most complicated and prestigious mission undertaken by ISRO. If all goes well, India will become the fourth country in the world after the US, Russia and China to make a soft landing on the moon's surface. It will also become the first country to touch down on the as yet unexplored south pole of the moon, which is also its far side. The mission can unravel many of the moon's still unknown mysteries. Apart from revealing the past of our solar system, it can also hold the key to humanity's future beyond the Earth. With Aisha Khanam in Bangalore, Newsnight Desk, DD India.
So all is going according to plan so far, and it's a case of so far so good, like I said. But if you talk about what lies ahead, well, it is going to be still quite a journey for Chandrayaan-2. If we were to bring up what we have prepared for you right here on this screen, you will get to understand what is the journey ahead all about, because it is at the end all about decoding the moon. If you look at the screen here, and we have what's happening is 4 more orbital maneuvers will be taking place. So it's going to go down further, this orbiter. And then, of course, what will happen next? Well, we'll tell you about that too, in terms of how things will proceed from here. If you move on further, what will happen is that the next maneuver around 1 p.m., that's a crucial time that will be taking place, because what will be happening is a bit of a deorbiting will take place, and such 3 more maneuvers will be taking place on the 28th, the 30th of August as well as the 1st of September. So this deorbiting, gradually this orbiter will move down. It will spin down at least 4 times, and then on the 1st of September the orbit of the orbiter to be reduced to 100 into 100 kilometers. So it will come down to just about 100 kilometers above the surface of the moon, and it will position itself gradually in an orbit that is, going around the poles of the moon, because that's where the lander is supposed to land, on the south pole of the moon. 2nd of September, the lander will be separated from the orbiter. This is a very, very crucial part of the entire journey, because then on the 3rd of September, 3-second deorbiting maneuver will be carried out as far as this piece of equipment is concerned, and this is also pretty crucial. Time is just 3 seconds, but it's very, very vital to the entire mission. And real deorbiting will be taking place for the lander for 6 seconds on the 4th of September. So this deorbiting is also very, very critical to its ultimate position of landing, which I'll tell you about in some of the next pointers that are coming up. The next 3 days, there will be various parameters of the lander which will be verified. It will be checked if everything is working fine, because then will be the ultimate maneuver on the 7th of September, 1:40 a.m. Indian Standard Time. The powered descent to the moon's surface will start for the lander, and this is going to be a light-braking, heart-braking kind of a maneuver, which has not been attempted by ISRO before. This is the first time that ISRO has programmed something to do it, and this will be the first time it will happen. And on the 7th of September at 1:55 a.m. Indian Standard Time, late in the night really, the lander will touch down at 75 degrees south of the equator. So that's a big move that will happen if all goes to plan, and it should. It has been doing so. No reason why it won't now. The landing to take place on a high plane between two craters. So what is required is that it lands precisely at a high plane which has a 12-degree angle, because that's how you get the best landing as far as the lander is concerned. It will help in deployment of the rover as well. And then the ramp will be deployed, because the rover needs a ramp that will roll out gradually. It has several wheels and it's AI operated. Then sonar panels will also be deployed, because this is supposed to run on its own using the sun's energy. And then on the 3rd of September, 7th of September, I beg your pardon, 3:15 a.m. IST, the rover will be rolling out from the lander. The rover will also be conducting experiments on the moon, 2 of them. And on the same day at 4 a.m. IST, the rover will touch down on the lunar surface. It will roll out, and then it can move around for about 500 meters. It has a life of 1 moon day, which is 14 Earth days, and that's how long it will operate and generate data, conduct experiments, and then send it back to the orbiter. It will bounce it back to the Earth. That's what the life is all about. 14 days, 1 lunar day, 14 Earth days. This is the journey that is taking place already for this mission. On the 22nd of July, we all remember, the rocket blasted off, and it was a great day. We all watched it almost, and then Chandrayaan 2 launched on board India's most powerful GSLV Mk3 rocket, which is why it was such a great thing to watch. I watched repeats of it on TV for several days. Really, it was such a great moment. And Chandrayaan 2 mission, the price is of course a big factor as well. It's not that much, less than 1,000 crores. Other space agencies, NASA, would be spending billions just to do the same thing. Now, series of maneuvers have already been done to raise the orbit to the lunar transfer trajectory. That was done because first, this entire piece of equipment, the orbiter, had to move to an orbit around the Earth, and then maneuvers were done so that it moves from the Earth's orbit into lunar orbit, which has happened today. And on the 14th of August, Chandrayaan 2 injected into lunar orbit at a velocity of 10.9 kilometers per second. So that was also a critical maneuver. But remember, this has been done before. All this has been done before by ISRO when Chandrayaan 1 happened. So far, what ISRO has done is something that it has done before. But now, whatever will happen next is what ISRO hasn't done earlier. 19th of August, Chandrayaan 2 entered sphere of moon and came under Earth's gravity. This is also a very critical move. Then the lunar orbit insertion maneuver reduced velocity of Chandrayaan 2 from 2.4 kilometers per second to 2.1 kilometers per second. That's also a very crucial maneuver, highly technical. And it is something that our ISRO scientists have to be credited for. And then lunar orbit insertion maneuver, reduced velocity. After this, of course, came the next step. And if we could have it up on the screen as well, that will really serve the purpose. And this is how the journey has gone so far, because now, of course, we're looking at those moments when ultimately it will, of course, deploy the lander, and then the lander will touch down. It will be a soft touchdown. It's something that ISRO has not done before. Only 3 other countries have done. And what ISRO is doing this time is unprecedented, because it is landing on the south pole of the moon, the dark side of the moon. It is completely unexplored. So it happens, or all of it happens, on the 7th of September. That's a day you should be glued to DD News. Actually, the night will be bringing live broadcast of that event as well. And that's how things have unfolded. We'll take a quick break at the moment, and then we'll be joined by a very special guest. I'll tell you about him and another special guest as well in just a bit. Stay with Newsnight.
डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी और प्रसार भारती दूरदर्शन अब लाए हैं डीडी साइंस, 1 घंटा विज्ञान के नाम। हर रोज सोमवार से शनिवार शाम 5 से 6 बजे तक एक नए युग की शुरुआत। डीडी साइंस, हम देंगे हर सवाल का जवाब। जी हां, हर सवाल का जवाब अब आपकी स्क्रीन पर। डीडी साइंस, भारत सरकार का एक नायाब कदम।
दिन भर की सुर्खियों पर नजर, देश दुनिया की 100 बड़ी खबर सिर्फ 30 मिनट में। एक्सप्रेस न्यूज, सोमवार से शुक्रवार सुबह 9 बजे और रात 9:30 बजे।
Welcome back. You're watching Newsnight, and we're talking about a maneuver, a crucial maneuver that has been made by Chandrayaan 2, India's second mission to the moon. The objective, of course, is to make a soft landing of a lander, which will deploy a rover as well onto the moon surface, and that too on the south pole of the moon, the dark side of the moon, something that has never been done before. That area of the moon is completely unexplored. The potential of making discoveries and confirmations and finding out more about not just the moon, but even the origins of the solar system are huge over here. And that brings up our In Focus tonight, which is Chandrayaan 2, one step closer to the moon. And to talk about it, we have Dr. K. Sivan, Chairman ISRO, joining us all the way from Bengaluru, and we have our consulting editor, DD News consulting editor, Vijay Kranti, with us as well. Dr. Sivan, if I could ask you first, and congratulations in the first place. You in that briefing to the media said that it was very unnerving, those 30 minutes, heart-stopping really. Why was that? Why was this move so crucial to the entire mission? Could you start by telling us that?
First of all, let me thank you for your heartiest congratulations. And this particular mission is a very crucial phase it has gone through today. Why we told that it is a heartbreaking event? The reason is, in case that maneuver is not performed properly, the Chandrayaan 2 will escape from us. We will not get back. Also, if the maneuver is not properly done, the inclination will not get the 88 degree, which is more crucial for us to land at the launching site near South Pole. That's what, to ensure that everything is done properly and precisely, we were really eagerly waiting and with more anxiety and with almost our heart stops. That's the reason I was telling.
Right, and now that this maneuver has taken place, you also said that this is not the end of the tension, it's probably just the beginning. Why did you say that? And we have explained to our viewers as well as to what is involved next, but we'd like to hear it from you because you can best explain how complicated all this really is.
Basically, till now what we have done is the same as what we executed during Chandrayaan 1 mission.
Correct.
The real new thing is going to come now only. And after the series of maneuver we are going to do to reduce that orbit height from 18,000 to 100 kilometer, then only the real new things come into the picture, where we are going to separate that Vikram from the orbiter. Also we are going to do all the maneuvers in the Vikram, which is going to be the first time this was going to do. And because it is going to be done for first time, also it is a very complicated mission and a very, very exciting mission at the same time. We are telling that it is yet the most difficult part is yet to come.
Yes, first time for ISRO, first time for India, 2nd of September, that's a crucial date. But let's go beyond that as well, presuming that you will succeed as you have so far, and that then brings up the 7th of September.
Yes, 7th September is going to be the most the crucial day for all of us. The reason is the orbiter will be revolving around the moon at 100 kilometer. At the same time, the lander, that is Vikram, will be at 100 kilometer by 30 kilometer. And from 30 kilometer, the most crucial operation going to be started. That is the power descent phase. And then that will take about 15 minutes to land on the moon surface. This 15 minutes experience is first time for ISRO. Also it is more crucial in the sense, mainly the thrust has to be regulated and many sensors will be coming to the picture, and also new guidance, control and navigation algorithm will be in the picture. Every system has to work on dot without any interruption. Then only the velocity of the vehicle will be controlled way, it will be decreased so that we land at the moon the right way. In case the maneuver is not proper, then what happens is either the moon will be, the lander will be landing with a hard land, then we will be losing the vehicle. That's what we are telling, this a very, very crucial phase for all of us.
And all this has been done indigenously, the algorithm, all these things that will be done. It's not as if somebody is sitting, here on Earth controlling the orbiter and then the lander, but it's all algorithm based, and the algorithm has been developed by ISRO.
All algorithms, whatever we have loaded on the ground, is staying right now on the orbiter, and the entire operation, that is the power descent phase, then we used to call the rough braking phase, then common the attitude phase, then again the fine braking phase, then the landing at a particular location, everything is autonomous and the software is loaded on board, and it's going to be 100% autonomy, the satellite.
Right. Now, once the lander has landed, the rover has to be deployed, and a lot of crucial experiments will be conducted on the surface of the moon. Apart from the orbiter itself going around the moon and making a lot of measurements and observations and recordings, there are cameras on board as well. So a gamut of operations will be conducted over the course of the first 14 days, the one lunar day, and then the orbiter has the life of at least a year. Tell us about what kind of information are you hoping this will deliver?
Here, first of all, we are going to map the rock forming elements like magnesium, aluminum, calcium, iron, and we are going to map the water and minerals, and also we are going to map the fine traces of the exosphere around the moon. Yeah. And from the lander, once it is landing, we are going to conduct 3 experiments. That is, at the place where the lander is positioned, what is the seismic activity, and also it is going to measure the density and variation of the plasma. Then also it is going to measure the temperature conductivity and temperature variations on the subsurface area. And the rover is going to do very excellent job of carrying out the chemical characterization of the surface of the moon in terms of mineral and water in situ. And these experiments are going to give a lot of new science to us, because we are going to land in a place where nobody else has gone.
Yes.
And we are expecting that new discovery is expected from this mission. And that's the reason it's not only Indian scientists, the scientists across the globe are eagerly waiting for this particular mission, with the praying for successful of this mission.
Tell us a little bit more about the South Pole, where this first time landing will take place, the dark side of the moon. It's been romanticized so much because it's a mystery, and one can expect that the mystery, of course, will be revealed with a lot more information than we've ever had about the moon, not just the moon, but the origins of the solar system.
Here in the moon surface, there's a special thing in the South Pole. The South Pole has more darkness than North Pole. And because of this unique characteristics, it is believed that a new discoveries can be there, and the new minerals can be there, and water content may be more. This is a belief. And also this, because of the unique characteristics compared to the North Pole, we are believing that a new information we will get from this mission.
Okay, because another telltale comment that you made in your briefing to the media today was that the world is waiting for our data. Now, just tell us, if the world is waiting for our data, and if that data lives up to the world's expectations, particularly the scientific community, then what kind of a bearing could it have for not just outer space exploration, but some say even the future of the human race?
No, we are not looking for any space race or anything. Our aim is
I'm not talking about space race, I'm talking about the human race. I'm talking about the fact that the future human race might depend on making new discoveries on the moon.
Yes, right now we have that Gaganyaan program at present, and we will be first of all landing, sending a man to the space, and that's the first step. Then after succeeding that particular demonstration, then we will be thinking about further. Right now we don't have any plan for further man race towards moon.
Right, because I was asking you, since there is the possibility of a convergence between the projects that you are right now undertaking. You've undertaken, one is Chandrayaan 2, the other is the possibility of a manned mission into space, and then there is the re-entry vehicle that you've been working on as well. So then the natural question is, when will these 3 things converge?
Now, in fact, that at present, this the Chandrayaan 2 mission, re-entry mission, Gaganyaan mission, they are independent. They are not connected together right now.
Yes.
And right now we are experimenting with a remote way about the Chandrayaan, and also we are going to have a separate mission to the orbit, the human space. Then we have separate vehicle for re-entry missions. So right now there is not related. Maybe in the future we may be able to do at the later stage.
Okay, and you will not put a date to it, any rough year?
Now, if you are talking about Gaganyaan program, that is our aim is to have the mission by 2022 before the Independence Day. That was the target set by our Honorable Prime Minister.
Right.
Regarding the re-entry vehicle,
yes, go ahead, Doctor.
we are really regarding re-entry vehicle, we really right now in the demonstration stage only, and we need to do a lot to reach the stage for achieving or developing a vehicle that may take some another 5 to 7 years. That is another one. And regarding that lunar missions, we already by these missions we will be achieving the technology required for launching.
Yes.
And probably maybe by 10 years from now we may be thinking about such type of missions like whether human can go to moon with a re-entry vehicle. That is the type of the time frame we can think of.
Well, thank you. You've given me a headline that 10 years from now we can look at the possibility of doing that. At this stage, Dr. Sivan, just stay with us. I'd like to bring in my colleague and senior colleague, consulting editor Vijay Kranti as well. Vijay Kranti, what do you make of what Dr. Sivan has said so far in terms of how this mission is going, what will be achieved once this mission is completely successful, and what it entails for the future of India's space program?
Yeah, you know, we admire the humility Dr. Sivan has shown as a hallmark of Indian scientists. One thing I'm sure the scientists won't talk about is this whole mission. The one thing which is really great is that our Indian scientists, and I congratulate you, Dr. Sivan, for that, our Indian scientists have achieved everything on their own. The entire technology is just like reinventing the wheel. Because I remember my generation of journalists, we have seen how India was treated as a pariah, as an untouchable in the international community. Our scientists were not, did not have the advantage of sharing information with other countries. For example, even if they wanted some even basic equipment for rocket technology, metallurgy, etc., anything, fuels, they were not only not nobody shared with them, rather there were attempts to sabotage it and to stop it. And I must congratulate our friends, scientist friends of India, that they, in spite of all these hurdles, they have achieved something. I would say they have really achieved the moon. And this particular project, the Chandrayaan 2, I can visualize that once Chandrayaan 2 reaches there, the rover is there, and they confirm the previous information which Chandrayaan 1, when they dropped their probe on the moon surface at the South Pole, and then it was discovered that there were some signs of water. I can visualize that if Chandrayaan 2 comes back with the confirmation that there is water existing in good quantity, then we can imagine that our scientists, our ISRO scientists, one day with the help of or in collaboration with other international countries, they will be able to establish working stations on the moon. They will be able to use that water to break it into hydrogen and oxygen, which becomes basic fuel for taking the flights to other stars, planets. And that is, I think, one of the greatest.
So the moon could become a base.
Yeah, it is going. I think this is one of the greatest contribution of.
Is that something, Dr. Sivan, that ISRO could be looking at? You know, going further down the line from 10 years that you said earlier.
Yes, sir. You are absolutely right. That is maybe making use of that the resources available in the moon for making habitat, or even for making a post for travel further beyond the moon. And that is a purpose, and that will happen maybe that 15 years, 10 to 12 years from now it can happen, this one. Exactly, I told the same point whatever sir has told.
Right. And of course, people do talk about a space race as well, Dr. Sivan, and India has always maintained that we're not in any kind of a race, but still there is this perception that somehow India is now racing ahead because of the work of people like you. And how do you respond to that perception?
Yes, even though we are not talking about the space race, we wanted to develop the technologies indigenously. That is our first approach. Yes. Second one is how to achieve something unexplored region with a lowest cost. That is our second approach. And a third one is how to make use of this scientific investigations to the global communities. This is a third approach. This is the way we are moving, and definitely that is we could do a little bit in that Chandrayaan-2 in terms of the place where nobody else are gone. We are able to reach the place. I am sure that 7th we will be able to achieve the target whatever we are aiming, and this is going to have a new discovery. Similarly, that is we are planning for a Aditya L1 mission towards Sun. This is also a low-cost mission.
Yes.
How to achieve the low-cost missions technology with indigenously, and which is useful for the human community across the world. That is our aim.
May I add one point to what Dr. Sivan is saying? I would say it in a little different words. You spoke about the race. I would say the one thing great about the Indian scientists has been that they were not racing with others. They were competing with themselves. And we'll see the growth chart of our scientists, our scientific community, whether it is ISRO or Department of Atomic Energy or other fields, the way they have been competing with themselves and then growing upon the previous achievements, taking them ahead. And that is why I feel that we have reached this level where now many countries envy us. And many times, as we
many countries rely on us as well to launch their satellites, and
that's what
ISRO has a fairly successful commercial program as well. And again, that is something that Dr. Sivan and the likes of him, scientists of ISRO, his predecessors, everyone who's been working really need to be congratulated, and they deserve our gratitude. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, Dr. Sivan, sparing your time to talk about one step closer to the moon.
Thank you.
And I'm sure we'll get there on the 7th of September as well. Thank you so much for joining us. We will, of course, be broadcasting that as well, live when it happens. And I think Mr. Vijay Kranti will be very happy to be with us on that occasion too.
Yeah, of course. Being a member of the DD family, it will be an honor to be there, present on that moment, that historic moment.
Yes, we all collectively look forward to that day. And on that note, we will move on in this show and talk about what's happened in terms of fairly earth-shaking sequence of events as far as politics in the country is concerned, because what has happened is that P. Chidambaram, once the country's powerful finance and then home minister, is a hunted man today. A CBI team followed by Enforcement Directorate sleuths landed up at his home in Delhi. The CBI team returned when it didn't find Chidambaram home, but the ED sleuths remained searching his premises for quite a while. Let me go across to my colleague Amrit Pal Singh for more on this. Amrit, just tell us what led in the first place to all this, and what exactly were the CBI and the ED sleuths looking for?
Well, Gautam, first of all, let me confirm you in this house 115A here at Jorbagh, outside which I'm standing. The agencies are still inside. There are there's a five-member team still inside searching for documents on the first floor of this premises. Is where P. Chidambaram resides, and they're looking for documents. That's basically Karti Chidambaram's residence, and in the basement is his office, so they're still looking for documents. They would be looking for documents that would directly link them to this particular case, and strengthen the case for the investigating agencies. Now today what happened was that in the afternoon the High Court denied P. Chidambaram the anticipatory bail in this case, and after that P. Chidambaram's lawyers asked for 3 days to approach the Supreme Court.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. I'm going to just stay with me, because this is what is happening. Trouble has been mounting for P. Chidambaram, and a rapid fire sequence of events has been unfolding today, like Amrit Pal was saying, because what happened after the Delhi High Court rejected P. Chidambaram's anticipatory bail and also denied him protection from arrest. His lawyers of the likes of, legal bigwigs, luminaries really, Kapil Sibal, former Union Minister himself, Law Minister in fact one time, and Abhishek Singhvi was seen running around in the corridors of the Supreme Court, consulting even with Chidambaram, trying in some way to get him hearing in the Chief Justice's court by the Chief Justice himself, but it didn't happen. Amrit, what happened there?
In the afternoon, when the High Court denied him, anticipatory bail and also any kind of protection against arrest, it noted, and let me tell you what clearly it noted. It said that it is preposterous to say that the case against Chidambaram is baseless and politically motivated and is an act of vendetta. That's what the court ruled. It said it's a classic case of money laundering. Classic case of money laundering, and these twin factors have weighed to deny pre-arrest bail to the petitioner, that's P. Chidambaram in this case, and the gravity of the offence and evasive replies of Chidambaram to the questions put to him while he was under protective cover. And it said that the gravity of the offence committed in this case justified the denial of a pre-arrest bail. The judge also ruled that the facts persuade me to decline pre-arrest bail to petitioner while referring to comment on the merits of the case. It also said that the economic offences constitute that a different approach be taken in the matter of the bail, and it said the law enforcement agencies, very importantly it said, noted that the law enforcing agencies cannot be made ineffective by putting legal obstacles of offences in question, and it said that it pertinently observed that the economic crimes of such mammoth scale are craftily planned and executed. This grant of bail in such cases like instant one will send a wrong message to the society. The High Court not only denied him pre-arrest bail, it also refused to give him interim protection, after which, as you say, along with Kapil's lawyers, bigwigs like Kapil Sibal and Abhishek Manu Singhvi.
The kind of observations and comments that the High Court had may well prove to be P. Chidambaram's undoing in the Supreme Court as well, as and when he manages to get that hearing. And the implications of this could be huge, Amrit Pal, and perhaps we'll talk about it another day. Right now I'm running out of time. Thanks so much for joining us. And now we're moving on to Jammu and Kashmir, where the day was marked by further easing of restrictions in both fixed line telephone services and on daytime stepping out of homes for people. The situation has remained peaceful since the abrogation of Article 370, and normalcy is becoming the norm. Barricades were removed from Srinagar's landmark Lal Chowk for the first time today after 15 days. Authorities informed that attendance in schools and offices has been picking up, and things are becoming lively there. And now middle schools will also reopen in the valley starting tomorrow after primary schools.
Jammu and Kashmir continues to move on the fast track to complete normalcy. Restrictions are being gradually eased after the abrogation of Article 370 in J&K. Almost 75% of fixed-line telephone services have been restored by the administration. Principal Secretary Planning and Development Rohit Kansal said 73,000 telephone connections are now operational. He also said middle schools will open in some areas of the valley from Wednesday.
Primary schools हमने कल खोले थे, आज attendance में improvement हुई है और अभिभावकों से बहुत सी requests आई हैं. So keeping that in view, हमने ये तय किया है कि कल से उन क्षेत्रों में जहां primary schools चल रहे थे, middle schools भी खोले जाएं.
He also said that daytime restrictions have been eased from most of the police stations in Srinagar. He said inter-district transportation is also normal and adequate supplies of essential items and medicines are being provided to the people.
Public transport has begun to function and आज से हमारे पास inter-district transport movement की भी reports आई हैं. National highway and the airport continue to be normal. In the entire state, there are adequate supplies of all essential items, including food, POL, medicines, etc.
Barricades were also removed from the commercial centre of Srinagar, Lal Chowk. after a gap of 15 days, and vehicles were allowed to ply. Markets opened and vehicles were plying. Work has also resumed in government offices as well. Jammu and Kashmir Police have appealed to the people to inform the police control room regarding any person spreading rumours or malicious content. The police requested the citizens to share information regarding such people by contacting PCR Jammu telephone number 0191 254 2001, 254 2000, 256 0401, 254 4581 and helpline numbers 2560 244 and 100. Colleges saw a good turnout of students on Tuesday.
आज तकरीबन 50% बच्चे जो हैं वो हमारे इस कॉलेज में आ गए हैं। बड़े पुरअमन तरीके से हमारी क्लास जो चल रही हैं और एग्ज़ाम जो यूनिवर्सिटी के हैं वो पेपर भी यहाँ पर जो हैं बड़े पुरअमन तरीके से हो रहे हैं।
Schools have also opened in Jammu. Children have been expressing their happiness at the schools being reopened.
हम काफ़ी एक्साइटेड हैं। आज 15 दिन के बाद स्कूल अपने फ्रेंड्स से मिलेंगे, हमारी पढ़ाई कंटिन्यू चलेगी। काफ़ी लॉस हुआ है पढ़ाई का, सिलेबस बहुत पीछे चल रहा है हमारा।
आज बहुत ज़्यादा हम एक्साइटेड हैं। आज हमारा फर्स्ट डे था। हमारे टीचर अभी हमारे साथ बहुत अच्छे से कोऑपरेट कर रहे हैं। हमें उम्मीद है कि हम अच्छे से एग्ज़ाम्स को भी आगे कवर करेंगे और साथ ही साथ में जो हमारी रेगुलर क्लासेस होंगी वो भी लगेंगी।
Restoration of telephone services has also come as a big relief for the people of the state. In Doda, for the benefit of the people, telecom services were made available at the office of the Deputy Commissioner, where people came in large numbers to connect with their loved ones.
हमने सारे टाउन्स में जो है वो पब्लिक पीसीओज लगाए हैं। अभी डोडा टाउन में जैसे कि आप देख रहे हैं कि 5 जगहों पे फ्री पीसीओज हैं। लोगों से अपील करना चाहूँगा कि जहाँ जहाँ पे उनको ज़रूरत है कि वो कांटेक्ट करने की, तो वो आके इन फ्री पीसीओज का जो है वो बेनिफिट उठा सकते हैं। उसी के साथ साथ जो हमारे बाकी टाउन्स है, कारा है या फिर बदरवा है, फिर बातरी है, इन जगहों पे गंदों में यहाँ पे भी फ्री पीसीओज लगाए गए हैं। तो ऐसी कोई इमरजेंसी सिचुएशन है तो फिर लोग जो है उसका बेनिफिट ले सकते हैं।
And these visuals from Riyasi and Jammu say it all. The Divisional Commissioner of Jammu addressed a Gram Sabha in the Panthal block of Riyasi. Hundreds of locals participated with great enthusiasm. The situation is normal in the state and is only expected to get better in the days to come. With inputs from Rama and Abhishek in Srinagar and Jammu Bureau, News Night Desk, DD India.
Now, rains in the northern states have claimed at least 38 lives and triggered landslides, leaving hundreds of tourists in Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh stranded and several areas in Punjab and Haryana flooded. In Delhi, the Yamuna River continued to swell and was flowing above the danger level. Cabinet Secretary P.K. Sinha has chaired a high-level meeting of top officials and reviewed the prevailing flood situation in Himachal Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, Uttarakhand as well as Delhi. And he's directed officials to provide immediate assistance as sought by states to meet the crisis. As of now, 28 teams of the National Disaster Response Force are deployed in these states, and resources from the Army, the Air Force have also been pressed into service. Cabinet Secretary also directed the officials to make necessary financial assistance available from the State Disaster Response Fund. Meanwhile, in some good news, the IMD has said that the intensity of the rainfall is likely to decline in the coming days.
Several parts of northern India are facing the brunt of heavy rains and floods affecting normal life. However, with the decline in rain intensity, there has been an improvement in some parts. In hill states of Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh, floods and landslides have caused heavy losses. At least 35 people have been killed in rain-related incidents. In Punjab and Haryana too, many areas are facing a flood-like situation. In Delhi, Yamuna River is flowing above the danger mark, leaving many of the nearby areas and houses inundated. At around 1 p.m. on Tuesday, the water level was at 206.8 meters. In view of the rising water levels, the old iron bridge over the Yamuna River has been closed for road and rail traffic. People living in the vicinity of the overflowing river have been shifted to more than 22,000 temporary camps set up by various agencies of Delhi government.
परेशानी तो हर तरह की, जब पानी आ गया हर तरह की परेशानी है। न रहने का ठिकाना, न कहीं जाने का ठिकाना। गवर्नमेंट भी 100 टेंट के कही थी, 50 टेंट लगी है, 50 सब खेत वालों आके बस गए। जो हमारे जिग्गी वालों में उनके टेंट नहीं मिला है। नीचे टेंट लगा हुआ है बेमतलब का, पानी भर जाएंगे। थोड़ा और पानी आएगा तो पानी सब भर जाएंगे, तो नीचे फायदा ही था हमें जाने में।
Worst hit is the state of Uttarakhand, where all rivers are in spate due to incessant rains over the past 2 days. The Ganga is flowing above the danger mark in Haridwar. Chief Minister Trivinder Singh Rawat visited the areas battered due to cloudburst in Uttarkashi district and took stock of the situation. He directed officials to take necessary measures and pace up relief and rescue operations. The Chief Minister said that at least 15 people have lost their lives, while 6 are still missing. Several others are injured.
कैजुअल्टीज अभी हम लोगों को 11 बॉडीज रिकवर हुई हैं और 1 या 2 और केसेस होने तो 13 से 15 के बीच का नंबर है.
The ITBP carried.
Now, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, who is on a 3-nation visit to Baltic countries, that's Lithuania, Latvia and Estonia, has completed the second leg of his tour. The Vice President was in Latvia for a 2-day stop where he signed a number of key MOUs. The VP will now embark upon a journey to the last leg of his visit, that's Estonia.
On the second day of his 2-day Latvia visit, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu met Latvian President Egils Levits at his residence Riga Castle. Calling India's transformative growth and Latvia's natural strength complementary and committing to strengthening bilateral relations, the two leaders held delegation-level talks on an array of issues. The special areas of focus were culture, education and economic partnership.
I had wide-ranging talks with the President Levits. We both committed ourselves to take our relations to a higher level with a special focus on culture, education and economic partnership. I also held discussions with the Prime Minister Chidambaram on ways to enhance bilateral relations and to boost trade and investment cooperation. Confident that with my visit we will open a new chapter in our bilateral relationship.
India has been taking a firm stand against terrorism at various international fora. Vice President Naidu appreciated Latvia's support for India at the UNSC. The Vice President also reiterated India's stance that it will not allow interference from other nations in its internal matters.
Also highlighted the dangers posed by terrorism, saying that terror is an enemy of humanity. It has no religion, it has no regional connotation also. It's spreading across and we must all come together to curb terror of any kind for universal peace and progress. We don't interfere in anybody's internal affairs. At the same time, we don't want anybody else to interfere in our internal affairs of our country. And we are committed to principles of democracy, parliamentary system, and
India sought Latvia's support through the International Solar Alliance in its resolve to combat climate change. The two leaders appreciated the interest of Latvian people towards Indian culture. The Vice President described people-to-people relations as an important pillar of engagement. He appreciated widespread interest of Latvian people in Ayurveda, yoga, Indian culture, cinema and cuisine. Vice President Naidu also held discussions with the Latvian Prime Minister Krišjānis Kariņš on ways to enhance bilateral ties. The two countries agreed that there are immense opportunities to enhance trade and investment ties in sectors such as pharma, automotives, textiles, petroproducts, food processing, agriculture, dairy, transport and logistics, ICT, education and startups. An MOU on cultural exchange program was inked between India and Latvia. Post his meeting with Prime Minister Kariņš, Vice President Venkaiah Naidu visited the Latvian Parliament. Earlier in the day, the Vice President visited the Freedom Monument along with President Levits and paid floral tributes. He also paid a visit to the National History Museum. The day concluded with an address to the India-Latvia Business Meet. This visit assumes great significance as it is the first ever high-level visit to the three Baltic countries of Lithuania, Latvia and Estonia. Nishit Joshi's report for DD India.
Now, Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh has had a telephonic conversation today with US Secretary of Defense, Dr. Mark T. Esper. Rajnath Singh has congratulated Dr. Esper on his appointment as the US Secretary of Defense. Now, both the ministers expressed happiness at the significant progress in bilateral defense cooperation and reaffirmed their commitment to strengthen and deepen the relations further. They exchanged views on a range of issues related to military cooperation, defense policy, R&D cooperation, defense trade, technology and industrial cooperation. The Raksha Mantri raised the issue of cross-border terrorism affecting India and appreciated US support for India's effort to maintain peace and stability in the region. He said that issues relating to Article 370 are an internal matter of India, which are aimed at improving growth and economic development, democracy and prosperity for the people of Jammu and Kashmir. The US Defense Secretary appreciated India's position that the recent developments in Jammu and Kashmir are an internal matter of India. He hoped that any issue between India and Pakistan will be resolved bilaterally. Both leaders expressed satisfaction on the first tri-service joint exercise plan for later this year and steps taken to operationalize agreements like Lamoa and Komkasa. The Raksha Mantri invited the US companies to invest in the Indian defense manufacturing sector under the Make in India program. Both ministers looked forward to the 2+2 dialogue later this year in the US. Now, the Ordnance Factory Board has said that the Union Government's proposal for corporatization of the ordnance factories is aimed at bringing greater flexibility in their day-to-day functioning, giving them bigger operational freedom and autonomy in decision-making. In a release, the Director General and the Chairman of the Ordnance Factory Board, Saurav Kumar, said that the proposal is aimed at increasing the productivity of the ordnance factories. He said that this will help ordnance factories to meet requirements of Indian forces with a greater pace and increase the scope of exporting their products. The statement from the Ordnance Factory Board has come as the three recognized defense federations began their one-month strike from Tuesday. The strike call has been given in opposition to the proposal of corporatization. And that's all we have time for the moment in Newsnight tonight, but the latest continues with more on DD News and DD India. Do stay tuned.